All right. Good morning, y'all. So, again, another racism hoax. Erica Thompson and the racism wolf. I've been saying racism wolf for like at least a couple years now. So this is what it is. And these people that keep calling out or making up racist shit, when real racism happens, like nobody's gonna believe because people are all exhausted, right? So even if he did say go back to your country, I'm like, so? And you can't say anything back? It's like people are so fragile nowadays that, you know, people say something to them and they just like crumble, they like melt, they fucking like spontaneously combust. Remember, guys, sticks and stones? Remember, Erica? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names or words would never hurt me. Like, you're a grown-ass woman, right? And you're like crying over this dude that supposedly told you to go back to your country, and then it was found out that you fucking lied and made it up. Like, shame on you. You're a fucking awful person, you know? What's even funnier is he's a Democrat and he hates Trump too. Like, it's just, I mean, wow, like, it just gets better, right? How I mean, I saw the funniest meme a few months ago, and like one half of it said, hey, in 2020, or, you know, we're gonna have flying cars, and then, you know, 2020 is approaching and it says peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, are they racist? You know, that's how ridiculous it's gotten, right? Man, those people, it's just a certain kind of mindset of people that live in this reality of victimhood where they are miserable people. It doesn't really matter what race they are. They're just miserable people, and they're people that don't want to take responsibility for their own suffering, right? So you have somebody like her, you know, obviously is insecure, has issues, right? I mean, but it's the same thing. It's the same type of personality like the feminist. It's the same personality as, you know, the angry women that hate men, that want to blame everything on men. It's the same personality of the people that, you know, want to blame everything, that are overweight, want to blame everybody and everything except the food that they're eating. You know, it's the same like mentality, this victim mentality that people want, you know, they want to blame everybody else and not taking responsibility. And I swear, I think I might have to do something where I break this down, because I keep telling people to read this, and it's only like 35 pages, right? But everybody's really busy, and I've been telling other YouTubers that I've connected with them, like, you have to read this. And it's the Unabomber Manifesto. My disclaimer is I don't agree with him blowing people up, but there's a whole story behind it where he actually went to Harvard very young. He's like a genius. And he was actually experimented on, and the experiment basically was to break down people's psychology and belief systems and get them to think a certain way. I guess that's just a way of, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I guess that's just like the short version of it, right? But as a result, he understood what academia and was going to do, what the elites were going to do, and he wrote in his manifesto called Industrial Society and Its Future, talking about how, you know, the use of technology and the use of leftist psychology to control people and to radicalize them. And he mentions that they were going to use people with feelings of low self-esteem and insecurities. Like, he specifically says that, like, to radicalize them through the education system and make them the catalyst for things to, you know, be chaotic. And he also says that they hate images of anything strong, like patriotism, any Western civilization. He specifically says white males, I swear. And this was written in it was published, it was written probably a little bit before that, but it was published in 1995, okay? It's uncanny how spot on he is. But just back, so basically, you know, these people that are insecure, they're falling for it hook, line, and sinker. And then you have people that are even feeding it by that dumbass apology prayer that Marianne Williamson, you know, did the other day, which I'm gonna do a video on that. I'm like halfway through that, dude. Guys, it's like 20 minutes, and I've wasted 10 minutes of my life watching the first half, but I want to watch the whole thing because I want to do a proper commentary on it. But anyway, so you have people feeding into it, right? And then you also use, it's like this whole like victim mentality and then the white guilt thing go hand in hand, because you create this, you know, it starts by, I'm trying to see how far I can take it in a short, make this short. Like, okay, so you start in academia and you teach history. You only teach a certain aspect of history, right? And you leave certain facts out, just like you know, just like the media does when they only show certain parts and cut things, you know, up and not show the whole story. You do that with history too. History is very vast, and there are different perspectives. And, you know, there's so much history to learn. It's impossible to learn it all. But I think in an academic setting, you still could put into the minds of people, you can say, hey, we're going to teach this aspect, but go and explore other aspects, you know, on your own, and know that history is larger than the amount of time that we have to teach in school. But what they do is, you know, they set up this like this playbook, right? Like when they especially in America. So when they, and I didn't figure this out until I was older, and I actually had to go out of what I learned from school to figure this out, because they don't teach this at school. But they teach, you know, you that like black people are the only people that experienced slavery, Jewish people are the only, you know, the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust was the only Holocaust that happened, right? And then they like hijack the name Holocaust and slavery to make it only exclusive to Jewish people and black people. So from that you can create a certain kind of agenda and narratives, right? You don't tell people that there were other blacks that owned slaves. You don't tell people that it was black people that sold other black people into slavery, right? You don't tell people that there were Jewish people that like that ran the slave ships. So you create this, and you don't tell people that it was a small amount of white people that owned slaves. You don't tell other people that there were white people that were slaves. You don't really emphasize indentured servitude. So you're kind of left with this whole narrative that like white people are evil, and you don't talk about the fact that every race and every culture has either been the oppressor or has been oppressed throughout history. You kind of leave that out and leave this very narrow setting. Now you're setting the stage for this whole like victim thing where you're kind of basing like people's or history on genetics, right? We're saying because this person looks a certain type of way, they're either going to be the victim or the oppressor, right? So in this case, you're talking about white people, you know, being the slave masters in American history, right? The way that American history is taught. And then you're talking about black people being the oppressor. And then you have movies that come out every fucking year that, you know, like implant this memory in your mind that you're always in your subconscious, that you're always the victim, right? You have fucking, I've said this before, there's always a fucking Holocaust movie that comes out every year to talk about how horrible it was, and it was, but it's like, it creates like this PTSD trauma, right? Where people like flip out, and you kind of link, God, I think I'm going to change it. And then for black people, it's like the slavery movie. It's like 1 year there's a slavery movie, and then every other year there's a slavery movie, and then in between the other years there's a movie about like the Jim Crow era, some kind of like movie about that era, right? So we're constantly having this, like our subconscious attacked for the people that fall for it, right? In this victim state, you know, and they're not honest about crime. I mean, the justice system is skewed, but they're not honest about the reasons why things happen. And you have people like this Erica person that falls for this shit hook, line, and sinker, but really it's her own insecurity and her own misery that she doesn't want to take responsibility for, so she wants to blame everything like on fucking racism. And like I said, it expands out to not just racism, but sexism or sexual orientation, whatever little, you know, nook they get in there to like make people, you know, victimize them and mind control them. It's a form of mind control, you guys. It's fucking mind control, okay? Luckily, there are a lot of people that are waking up. Luckily, we have the internet, so we can spread information outside of, oh my God, I'm sweating. Maybe I should turn my air on, you think? You think I should turn my air on? When it's 89 degrees in the morning, I think I should turn my air on. But anyway, try not to. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So it's a form of mind control, right? And I'm going back to the manifesto. He says that they were going to do this. And it's so insane that these people are so radicalized. It's like almost like they have a spell over them, right? Like you can't even reason with them. You can't even meet them in the middle. Like it would be great if, you know, she maybe misinterpreted the guy and the guy's like, oh no, that's not what I said, or this is not what happened. She was like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry, my mistake. And they can laugh about it. But no, the bitch doubled down, and it's just like, and it's newsworthy. How is this even newsworthy? Like, only time I remember, I have had somebody, honestly, I've had somebody to tell me to go back to my country, to go back to where I came from. But I was like 7 in elementary school, and that dude was from Mexico, and I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, why don't you do the same? Like, I knew enough. I wasn't even, somebody told me that when I was a kid, and I didn't even trip off of it. Like, it made me mad a little bit, but I was like, ew. Like, you know, I don't know, maybe I know how to defend myself verbally, and I can fight back. And I know as long as people can be racist, they can think whatever the fuck they want about me, but as long as they're not in my way, I'm good. Like, I'll just, you know, go around them, right? I was looking at Kevin from Kevin's Corner, and that's my homie, man. He's such a gifted storyteller. Between him and Jericho Green, I swear to God, like, I have a flat stomach because they both have me laughing so hard. I don't even have to, like, do sit-ups. But like, I always say, like, Jericho Green is like Richard Pryor, and Kevin's Corner is like, he's like Bill Cosby. But they're both funny. And, you know, Kevin's clean, he doesn't curse, but he's a gifted storyteller, and he's just goofy. And then Jericho Green, he curses and he's vulgar, but they're equally genius in their own ways. Anyway, that's my, if you don't know who they are, you guys should check both of their channels out. Jericho Green and Kevin from Kevin's Corner. I love them both. Anyway, I was looking at Kevin from Kevin's Corner, though, and he was talking about, he has this really good video he just put out called Are You Blacker Than Me? And it was somebody else that he was talking about, but he was like, I was looking at this dude, and this dude is lighter than me. Like, Kevin's like a chocolate complected guy. And he was like, this dude's like lighter than me. It looks like his hair he has like straight hair, whatever, you know? And I just thought that was such a good, you know, he's just like, and you're saying that like you experience more racism than I do, and I'm like darker than you. And one thing that a lot of people, black people, aren't talking about too, which I'm glad he brought that video up, is the fact that, like, you know, there's a hierarchy within the black race. It's in every ethnic group, right? But just being a black person, I know you're lighter skinned, you're more privileged, you're not as looked down upon, right? And like the more Caucasian features that you have, and this is just within the black community, okay, the more kind of grace you're given, right? So I have dark eyes, my eyes aren't pretty, so I didn't get, oh, she got the pretty eyes. I have nappy hair, you know, so my hair, you know, but my skin's light, so I get some points there, right? I'm light compared to, but there are people that are lighter than me compared to, you know, who I'm being compared to, right? And it's so funny that I've also noticed a lot of the same people that are very racist against, or that complain about racism are very racist against people of their own race. It's like, I knew this guy, we were friends, he was really hot. And, you know, he had a thing for me, but I'm saying this just because I wasn't really interested because of his attitude. And one of the things that really turned me off about him was like, he liked light-skinned black girls. But I remember there was this girl, and she was interested in him, and she's a pretty girl, but she was dark skinned, and he literally, she wasn't wrong, but he was like, ugh, she's too dark for me. But yet he was always complaining about the white man and racism and shit like that. And I've noticed those are the most racist fucking people, the ones that are racist themselves, that they're projecting, right? I knew this dude, I was in like this communications course, right? And he was actually Jewish. And one day he comes in and we're like talking about our week and we're like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, man, like, it's terrible. Like, my sister is marrying this guy. And we're like, oh my God, like, does he beat her? Like, what's what's wrong with this dude? Like, is he like an alcoholic? And he's like, no, he's not Jewish. And we're like, what? He's like, no, he's a great guy, but he's not Jewish. And we're like, okay. And he was always complaining about racism and discrimination toward Jewish people, yet he was the most racist person one of the most racist people I've ever known. Like, he even wanted a roommate one time. We were trying to help him find a roommate, but he don't want to room with anybody that wasn't Jewish and wasn't kosher. And we're just like, well, I don't really know how to help you, dude, because I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't eat during the video. I'm hungry though. Okay, so that my point is, a lot of these people too that cry the racism wolf are actually racist themselves. They're racist, they're horrible fucking people, and they have issues that they need to handle, right? They have what am I trying to say? They have insecurities, they have psychological problems, they have PTSD maybe that they need to handle. And the elite are just using this, doubling down, using this to divide this country. And I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think that people are waking up from this? I really don't think that there's a lot of racism in the country. I think there are people that don't like each other, but there are different reasons why. I think if somebody has an issue with me, racism is the last thing I think about. It's because I'm black, it's like the last thing. It's possible, it's happened, it's rare, but I also don't harp in that. And even if that is the case, I don't what's the word? I mean, I don't really let it bother me. I mean, what can I do? I'm not gonna try and change somebody's mind as long as they're not physically trying to stop me from doing something. You know, it's sad, but I'm glad she got caught, and I just hope it opens more people's eyes. And yeah, all right, what do you guys think? That's it. This is getting kind of long. I was rambling a little bit, but talk to you soon. Peace and love. Bye. Mwah.